So this week, I've been reminding everyone in the classes so far of 5 things to consider when you sit and align your body. These are the points of alignment. There are other things to consider too, but these are the points of alignment. One starts with an action rooting the sits bones, and then making sure that you're right on the center of those sits bones. Number 2 is to make sure the spine is fully extended upwards, which is the unslouching action. And to make sure that your chest is open, actively lifted. And then that lift is supported by the back body, the movement of the shoulder blades down and together. So buttock bones grounded, spine lifted, chest lifted, shoulder blades down together, but they don't squeeze the shoulder. I have to keep reminding us, we don't squeeze them. It's just to counter the fact that they slide up and they go out when the shoulders roll forward. And the fifth, the last thing, is the action that supports the lift of the spine, and that's the lift of the lower abdominal muscles that holds you in place. And then you can start to relax your face and let that softness spread throughout the entire body. Everything, the outer covering, becomes very soft. And we reach inside of ourselves to find that very quiet, still place. We are reminded that the practices of yoga lead us to the stillness of the mind. But it takes practice. And so it's like learning an instrument or learning a new language or learning a new skill. Repetition, repetition, repetition. So find the still spot. Find the quiet place. There are so many tools available to you. Use your breath, watch it. Use a mantra, could be Om. Use an affirmation, could be I am well, I am peace. I am quiet, I am still. And then we'll let the practice go. A little reminder, I'll come back to this again and again. Bring your hands up to your heart. Acknowledge the beautiful light being that you are. Exhale and bow humbly to that light. Release your hands and open your eyes. And then lift your head. Raise your arms up, inhaling, 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 and then stretch the shoulders by reaching the hands upwards and then bow the head. Yeah, and we're going to do a lot of arm workout stuff. I can sense your excitement. We should do a lot of shoulder warm-ups. So let's now take the arms behind us. And remember, for some of us, we might want to hold a belt and the palms will face forward when holding the belt. Otherwise, interlace the fingers, roll the shoulders behind you and lift your arms. Also in this one, bow the head. So if the belt is in another room, we'll give you a chance to go get it. And then release. Now let's do one more. Let's do the eagle pose so we can get wide across the back. Okay, so let's take the right arm and let it be on top. Your elbows are slightly bent. The right arm will cross over the left arm. Now sometimes this is the in spot, but we're going to keep wrapping the left as best we can. The left arm, the one you see the fingers waving, the bottom arm, is going to now wrap back around to meet the face of the left hand. And then we're there. Elbows only rise enough that they're more level with the shoulders. They move forward gently, which helps spread the shoulder blades, and then you bow your head. And remember, there's all sorts of places where you can get to, and you just stop. The most important thing, there's always this one most important thing, is that you are spreading the shoulder blades, which will widen the middle trapezius and the rhomboids, and you're stretching across the back of your shoulder for the posterior deltoid and the posterior joint capsule. And then we'll let the elbows come down, release the arms, stretch them out, and do the other side. Let's have that left arm on top, and then do the same thing. This is the right arm now, the bottom arm. It wraps back around the left arm, and you make the palms come together the best you can. Sometimes if you see how low my right fingers are on the left palm, you can try this and see if it can help you get a little higher. You make a fist. This will be your left hand, the top hand that makes a fist. And then you cock the fist. And then your right hand reaches up and holds the fist. It clings to it. Like, don't let go, don't let go. And then you uncock the fist, which will slide your forearm up a little higher. And then you can see that even on mine, the fingers are a little high. More stretchy. And release. Good. Now let's twist to the right and left. And release. Stretch the legs out. Pump your thigh muscles. And sit in Baddha Konasana. It is important, like when you're doing a lot of things like push-ups or chaturangas or planks, pay close attention to your shoulder. There are ways to practice even with shoulder injuries. To some level, sometimes there's a shoulder injury and there should be no practice at all. It should be rest. But for tonight, I believe that we can all do something. So for example, if I take what would be a plank with the hands and the feet on the floor, that's a much more challenging position. But if I tilt the pose up a little bit, like put the hands on a chair seat and have the feet lower, or put my knees on the floor, then I'll be lightening the load a little bit. And that will help a lot with the shoulder. So I might be able to still do the practices and even decrease the movement, the range of motion. Don't go as low as maybe you'll see me go. So find that place where you can practice and it feels okay. Stretch your legs out. Good. Cross your shins. Roll over into Adho Mukha Svanasana. So right away now we're in a weight-bearing posture. So let's make sure that we've got it right. The shoulder blades wrap wide on the back of the body. You can feel them being pulled towards the side ribs by that muscle, the shoulder stabilizer. And then when you look at your elbow pits, when you bend your elbows out to the side, that little indention, the inner elbow, they should face each other. So if they are turned upwards, you've overly externally rotated the arms, so you have to turn them so they're going downward. They'll face each other then. Or if they face downward, that's too much internal rotation and they need to rotate upwards. The key is, the simplest way to say this is just look at the inner elbow pits and fix them so they face each other. If you had a little smiley face dot, they're looking at each other. On your next exhale, step up to the front of your mat, Uttanasana, and let those arms have a rest. And then bend the knees and inhale up, you come. And bring your hands down to your heart. Let's get some blood pumping even more around the shoulders. And then we're going to take the up dog and the down dog and move back and forth a few times like we do a lot of, many times. Sometimes we're doing it together. Spine ready for something like a twist or a back bend practice. But today the movement is, because you're in down dog, you're in up dog. The arm goes into extension in the up dog. It's in shoulder flexion, it's in shoulder extension. So we're going to use it to lubricate the shoulders and get them warmed up. But let's do these first. Do the shrugs. Shoulder blades up and down. We'll do 10 of those. This will be a lot of benefit to get, because the shoulder blades a lot of times are stuck. So I could, by the way, it's not just a shoulder bone shrugging. It's not just your collarbone lifting. Go in the back body and feel your shoulder blade riding up and going down, up and down. That's where we want the movement to come from. Now, I lost count because I was talking, but let's go wide and together too. Wide and together. I'll turn around. Shoulder blades are wide and then they're together. They go wide and together. So this is another area we've actually stretched in Garudasana, the eagle pose, to try to get more movement here. Again, another place where we get stuck and the shoulder blade can't quite either go as wide as it should, or it can't quite go into the retraction, and at least it can get there, but it can't hold itself there well because the muscles are so tired. Okay, now big shoulder rolls. These are the ones you just do during the day, just whenever you get tense. You just watched the news accidentally, it was accidentally on, and you get tense in your shoulders, then just do these, and then go the other way. So now we've got a little blood, we've got the little lubrication, we've loosened up around the shoulder blade a little bit and the shoulder joint, and we're ready for the up dog and down dog. So we'll just start at the front of the mat. Inhale, reaching up, exhaling Uttanasana, inhaling Ardha Uttanasana, exhaling back into Ardha Mukha Svanasana. Let's do it 9 times. Inhale, Urdhva Mukha, exhale, Ardha Mukha. Inhale, sometimes you can keep the toes tucked, and sometimes you can either jump and hop or step over onto the tops of the toes. That's just for the feet. It really isn't about tonight's class, but it's just something that you could do to keep the feet mobile. Big inhale on the back bend. Pull the shoulders back well. Open up those shoulders. When you're coming into dog pose, feel the armpits wide. Now, I'm not really sure. I know some of you have been counting, but I think this is my number 9. And if it's not, it's okay. You keep going. But I've done my 9, I think, and I'm going to step up now to the front of the mat. And then inhale, up we come. And bring the hands to the heart. Okay, now, it's very nice to just keep warming the whole body up before we get into all that craziness there's crazy antics with the arms that we're about to explore. So that we don't take up too much time with in and out of standing postures, let's put 3 together. Let's do Trikonasana, Virabhadrasana 2, and Parsvakonasana. All 3 linked together to the right side 3 and the left side 3. I'm going to go ahead and put my blocks in place. And so when we go to the right with triangle pose, we'll stay there and do 3 poses. I'm giving, excuse me, everybody a chance to get their props together. Bend the knees, and as you inhale, wide stance, left foot in, right leg out. Contract your quadriceps strongly, reach out over the right leg, and into Trikonasana we go. Now remember, in this posture, you're really it's not a stretch for the arms, but it's a wonderful lengthening for the connective tissue. So that you could just have, think of it as an intentional opening for that front body line through the arms. Remember, I'm going to go right into Virabhadrasana 2 from here. So I'll start to bend the knee and then come up and then finish the bending the knee. And then I feel a little bit narrow in my stance. I like a wider challenge. So I'm going to move my left foot away from my right foot. It's easier to move the back leg, which is my left. Now there I am, spine perpendicular to the floor, gaze over the fingertips. Now in this pose, you are starting to do some isometric strengthening of the shoulder girdle, right? The muscles that support the shoulder, the triceps are working, the deltoids are working. And now side angle pose. So bring the right hand down and the left arm shoots over the head. The right arm is warming up. That's the one that you got down on the floor because you're weight bearing on it, right? So it's getting a little bit of a sort of that grounding charge. Like the legs working, it's not carrying all your body weight, but a little weight. And then the left arm is opening up like what we do in the very first shoulder stretch of the evening. So all of these standing postures have something to do for your arms. Now take a deep breath and inhale, up you come, and turn your feet forward. We're ready to go to the other side. So turn the right foot in, the left leg out, reach out over your left leg, and then into Trikonasana you go. Virabhadrasana 2. Once again, a little bit too narrow of a stance. So wiggle the right foot away from the left foot, sink down into the posture, and then gaze over your fingertips. Oh, some of you are being sneaky and maybe coming out of the pose. I hope not. And then side angle pose. So you know, buying a membership for a gym and then never going doesn't really work, does it? Wouldn't it be nice if it did? Same thing, watching the video and not doing it with the teacher doesn't really help, does it? And then inhale, up you come. Turn your feet forward, bend your knees, inhale, exhale, step your feet together, rest your arms by your side. Good. So now let's begin by holding the plank on your forearms. Because when you take the forearm out, you don't have to weight bear through the whole arm, and the muscles that support the elbow no longer are having to work. And we'll just explore a few variations when we do that. So here we go. I'm going to move these blocks out of the way. Come down to the forearms. If your hands tend to come together and your elbows tend to go wide, sometimes it's nice to just put a block there. Between the index finger and the thumb, they form a square around the block with sort of right angles around the blocks. And then that will keep your hands from popping in towards each other. And then I just lift my knees off the floor and try to lower the pelvis. So, you don't want to be up. I mean, you could do the plank like this, but I'm trying to get us all down here like this in a nice straight line. Now I'm going to put the knees down just to remind you that that could be a simpler variation. Now, if you look at my elbows, they're directly beneath the shoulders. I'm not here and I'm not here. Right there. That's where I want to be. And then lift the knees in. Let's take about 2 more breaths. I bet we can do it. Oh, and don't let the pelvis go into an anterior pelvic tilt. You'll feel it in your low back. You have to pull the pubic bone towards your heart. Lift the pit of the abdomen. And then down you come. Now the arms like to rest. You could do child's pose. Or you could just sit in Vajrasana and rest. And if you say, well, I'd like to sit up and just let my arms rest by my side. Well, your knees don't like that. So you could put a blanket up under you and sit a little higher. Now what we'll do is go from, let's not do that yet. Oh, that'll be a good one to say. Let's just do the plank, but let's go over some variations. So plank number one is just the basic plank when the legs are up. I'm right here. You see, now once again, not sagging, not lifted up, but trying to make myself an inclined plane. The shoulder blades are wide. The front of the pelvis is lifted by the pit of the abdomen. The back of the pelvis is lengthening towards the heels. Now I could put my knees down and practice there. You see? Now another variation, and keep holding it while I show the other. Keep holding it while I get, don't let go of it yet. Keep holding it. Keep holding it. You can come down and rest. But if I had a lot of shoulder issues, I would do my plank like this. You see, now it's really alight in the shoulders. And you see, I still have my inclined plane. It also becomes a core stabilizing practice because I'm using these muscles here and these muscles here, the extensors, to keep my pelvis in place. There's a tendency for some of us to fall into our anterior pelvic tip. So now you've got some choices, and some of you actually did one while you were waiting for your variation to pop up. So you have those three choices: on the knees, with the elbows straight, but on a chair, or floor level. So are you ready? We're going to all do it together, and let's make it a goal to do somewhere between 6 and 9 breaths. So let's do it. 1 breath. 2. 3. 4. 5. 6. 7. 8. And 9. And then we come down and rest. And you can rest in either, if you feel like you just need to just drop the arms by your legs, that may feel restful, or you can do what I do and just sit in Virasana and recover. Because if the arms need a break before you give them something else to do, there should be a little rest in between. Now, I wanted to add something about, the chair. Make sure the chair doesn't slip and slide when you end up on the floor. It should be either on the sticky mat or pushed up against a wall. And if you say, I don't have a metal folding chair, then look in your house. You've got something. You've got tables. You've got even kitchen countertops. They're a little high, but maybe that's what some of us need, to be on a kitchen countertop. Tables, chairs, sofa, the arms usually are firm. You can just stand with your hands on that. So I'm sure all of you are creative. You can find something that will help you. Now, the Chaturanga Dandasana. That's enough to have people want to leave the room, right? One of the challenges that we want to make sure that we are conquering is not letting the shoulder blades feel like they're collapsing off the back body. So when you go into your Chaturanga, when we try this, just make sure that you can feel your rib cage and your shoulder blades. You have to put your mind back here, are pretty much staying together. Because when they separate, when you feel like you're starting to like if I were, I'm just keeping my knees, if I'm starting to drop like this, you see the saggage, then that muscle that holds the shoulder blades apart and towards the back of the body is no longer working to help me. So the difference would be, I'm here in a plank and I come down to like a Chaturanga and I just go back up, and notice I didn't even go down very far. You could just do a little baby one like that and it counts. If you do that much, you've got it, you get an A+. But if I do this and I sort of collapse, you can you see the sag, my shoulder blades are poking up, they're high. And this feels real bunchy around the trapezius. That is not how you don't want to strengthen things the wrong way. So we must keep the shoulder blades wide. So if I'm having struggle with that, if I don't understand it completely, you just have to pull them apart and keep them there. It's better to work with very small movements. So number one, I could do this on my knees. So if you need a visual, here it is. A little chaturanga and back up. It's really like a push-up. Just think about old gym push-ups from the old days. And then I could tuck my toes and do it the way that most of us will do. It's like a few chaturangas back to planks. So we're making the chaturanga more dynamic. Sometimes all you get in a flow class is you go down and you go right into up dog or down dog. So you don't get to go back up. You don't get to actually use the pose for strengthening, and you don't have time to really pay attention to how you're holding yourself. The shoulders should also not sag forward, which puts pressure on the like the biceps tendon in front of the shoulder. So now the third practice is once again what I would do for someone who has a shoulder issue. Come up into a more inclined plane, be a little higher, and keep the movement small. So here's my small movement, or the bigger movement. I need some help. Or you could even do this with the knees on the floor. Now I've really got a good place. This is just bend the elbows and push back. For chaturanga, when we do this, the elbows should stay close to the body. They won't go out wide. They'll stay close. That'll be a whole different practice. So I think that for most of you, you're anxious and ready. You've probably already done 20 or 30 by now. So just join us and we'll do 10 together. So some of you are stars. You've already done a bunch. But we should do some together over through the airways. Has everyone picked their variation? I can't hear you, so I'm just going to assume you said yes. I'm going to do the plank to chaturanga. So join me. Here we go. It's dynamic. So go down and push up. Inhale, exhale. Inhale, exhale. 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Oh, look, we're going to make it 10. We all made it. Now, remember what we said. The arms need to rest. And they especially need to rest because we're going to have a little fun now. So now, what if we went down to plank, from plank to chaturanga, and then we pushed back from chaturanga into down facing dog. That sounds like a challenge, doesn't it? So let's do one and see how you feel, and then see if you need to work out a variation. Remember, if I'm going to keep it simple, my hands may need to be higher, and I could even do this at a kitchen counter, really elevate myself up. But this is what it would look like if we're going to do it on the floor together. And then I'll go through a few variations. We're in the plank, we go down to chaturanga, and we just push right back into down facing dog. Come to the plank, go to chaturanga, and push back and down facing dog. And we'll do that multiple times. So now, should probably do 100 or so, right? On the knees, it would look like here, and then I could go into dog pose. Come back down for plank on the knees, chaturanga, dog pose. And then the chair. Plank, chaturanga, dog pose. Plank, chaturanga, dog pose. And again, a kitchen counter would be even higher and may have other issues. Now, what I would do too, keep the movement smaller when it comes to plank to chaturanga, smaller movement. And also maybe do 4 or 5. But those of you who are dedicated to your upper body work and you don't have any shoulder issues, we're going to go for 10 again. Don't you think we should? Okay, I'll take that as a yes. I'm rested. I hope you are. From plank, chaturanga, push back into dog. Inhale, exhale, inhale and exhale. Inhale, exhale. Oh. So just try to find the rhythm of the breath that works for you. And I think have we done 5? I was talking and focusing on making sure you got the breath. It takes 2 breaths to do the practice. So I think I'm going to do about 4 more. If I hit 10 before, it'll be okay. And You can stop early if you're counting, or just do until I stop. Okay, that was fun. That was challenging. Oh, you know what that means? It means we'll sleep well tonight. And if you did that with me, if you were able to actually get to 10, you know what that really means? We need to make it more complicated. We need to, not complicated, but more challenging. So what we do is when we come back into the downward facing dog, we actually will reach and touch our opposite knee. Yeah, so that'll really set things afire, won't it? So, and all of these can be done in any of the variations. So I don't even think I need to demonstrate the other variations. Or you could say, I figured out that what I should do is just plank and downward facing dog. Leave out the chaturangas. I can feel it as I go into the chaturanga. I can feel my injury. So leave it out and just do plank, dog, plank, dog. And then the rest of us are going to try, when we do this is my demonstration, and then we'll do, you go plank, chaturanga, push back to dog, touch your opposite knee. Plank, chaturanga, dog pose, touch your opposite knee. Okay, now, I can't take any questions, but what that means is you might have to watch a couple to make sure you got it and then join in. I think we're all ready. Yeah, here we go. Let's shoot for 10, which means 5 on each side. So when you touch your knee, that counts as 1. Then you touch the opposite knee, that would be 2. We can do it. And you can always stop. I'm the one that has to try to teach and do it at the same time. You can hear it in my voice. Here we go. I'm ready. Plank, chaturanga, push back, touch the opposite knee. Plank, chaturanga, reach back and touch the opposite knee. Inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale, inhale, exhale. Here we go. Now, I believe that's 6, so we're almost there. I think we're going to make it. Oh, maybe you're just watching me now. I will find out soon, won't I? Oh, we're just having watched. No, I believe that you are all trying the best you can. So now what we'll do is the challenging one. Is that you think, oh, is that not the challenging one? That was all fun and challenging. But now, what happens when you go all the way down and you try to push back up? So you're trying to, so not all of this will come up, right? Because the muscles that have to lower you may be working well. But what happens when we ask them to work in reverse order and hoist you back up from the chaturanga? We're going to go all the way down and just see if we can get ourselves back up to the plank. And we're going all the way to the floor. See, it's almost like you say hello to chaturanga dandasana, but not stay in it. You just go down. Let's give it a try and see. So I'll do a couple, and then you join in. You lift your hands up off the floor, just to remind yourself that you went all the way down. So you're in a plank, you go all the way down, and you pop your hands up to say, look, here I am. And then you see if you can push yourself back up. Go all the way down. Oh. And if you can't come up, this is what you do. You put your hands back and you push, isometric contraction, release. Push, isometric contraction, release. Or otherwise we come up and back down, lift your hands. Push up, come back down, lift your hands. Push up, come down, lift your hands. Or isometric. And again, this could be done on your knees, and this could be done at the kitchen counter. Just isometric contractions, which we're going to do several of in just a moment. We're going to do some isometric contractions for the muscles of the back body. Won't that be nice? Because some of you are thinking, haven't we done enough push-ups? I agree completely. Because since the gyms have closed, a lot of the friends that I know that work out in gyms, what they say to each other, I'm so tired. are doing push-ups and sit-ups because they feel like without weights, that's all they can do. Push-ups and push-ups and sit-ups and sit-ups and jumping up and down in place. Okay, good. So now, if I'm the only one breathing heavy, I'm going to be really upset. I'm working hard and you're not. Let's get serious. Now what we want to do is we're going to take a break from the front body and work the back body. And I don't have a wall behind me, but I do have a window. So I'm not going to push real hard against it to do these isometric contractions, but you will find a place in your room that you can do that. But I have to stay here so you can see me. Now, what I want you to get and understand is that there are three, and they involve three different arm positions. Position number one would be like this. You'll stand up against the wall and the palms face down and you're going to push back. Look at my arms. This is a 90 degree from the body. This is about 45 degrees. That's where the arms go. Position number two, you lift the arms so that they are 90 degrees at the armpit, and then 90 also at the elbow. But the palms face the floor and you push back again into the wall. We'll do that 10 times. And then we'll go like this. Now in this position, some people don't make it all the way. There's some tightness as we go into external rotation. The internal rotators are pulling the arms forward and won't let us go all the way. It doesn't matter. Go as far as you can and then push the back of the arm into the wall. So those three different positions will work different muscles around the upper back and scapula and shoulder girdle and will help us not only be stronger, but will help us have better posture. So let's do it. Again, I'm here at the window. And I'm not going to push so hard that I fall out, right? That will back all the way up. Okay, so now you see my arms are at a 45-degree angle. The palms face forward. And I'm sure you have somewhere in your house you can do this, a hallway or something. So as long as your shoulders and your arms and the backs of your hands are able to push, that'll be fine. Let's just do 10. You can do more than that, but for tonight, we'll do 10. Inhale, exhale, push, inhale, relax. Don't let it go into your neck. It's not about your neck. Exhale, push, inhale, relax. Here's number 4. Number 5. 6, 7, 8. You can always stop if you need to stop earlier. But here's number 9. And then the last one is number 10. 10. So those are just isometrics, but they will help create stability back around your upper back and body. So now, upper back and shoulder, excuse me. Now let's do this one where you push, but we're just taking a little break. Sometimes when we're learning something, we don't know how to not let it go into some other place. So pay attention, make sure that you're not feeling it in your lower back and you're not feeling it in your neck. If you are, it could be that you're trying too hard. Because when you try too hard, you begin to add muscles that you don't need. The neck should stay relaxed. I feel rested and ready. I'm ready. Just back to the wall again. Now, you would like the arms to be 90 degrees from the body. If your shoulders are tight and they don't go up any higher, here is fine. We would rather you be here than to jack your shoulders up to try to get the arms higher. Keep the shoulders relaxed and down. Now let's push back. Inhale, exhale, press. And you're going to count to 10. 2, 3, you might be ahead of me, that's fine. 4, 5, so that means I'm halfway there. If I can do 5, I can do 5 more. 8, I sometimes just get tired of hearing me count. So I'm just humming the numbers. And the last one, 10. Now in that one, the deltoid probably started to get a little tired and fatigued from holding the arms up, and that's natural and okay. If it started to get where it burned and really made you feel uncomfortable, then it was time to come out. Not everything has to be done to 10. It can also be done to 3 and 4 and start getting stronger and adding to and get to 10. And then when you do get to 10, then you might start adding a whole nother set, which means you double everything that we've done. Now we go to this one, okay? So do the wall. There we go. So it looked like the Surrender Outlaw thing, right? And the hands try to make it back. Now, if your hands get to the wall, but you had to stick your ribs out and thrust your pelvis out to get there, that's not quite it. But we're ready. Inhale and exhale. Push the back of the arm into the wall. If your hands touch the wall, then fine, push that also, but don't worry about that. Just push what touches the wall into the wall. Here comes my number 4. It's done on the exhale. Push on the exhale. Now, I did lose count. I'll be honest, it just happened when you talk. You distract yourself. But I think this is either my number 10 or close to it. So I'm going to do one more. I always will do it. I'll lose count. I guesstimate where I am, and then I add 1 or 2 just to make sure. Okay, and let your arms relax by your side. You can roll your shoulders around and then give yourself a big hug. Now there's those are isometrics. Now what I want to do is a few shoulder practices where we lift the arms in Shalabhasana in different positions. So that will also be strengthening. Let's do that one that we just did, that very same one, the last one. Let's go to Shalabhasana, which is the locust pose, and do that arm lift. So check yourself out before you get on the floor, because when you get on the floor and you look up, you might not be able to see your arms without turning your head. And you can turn your head. It shouldn't be contraindicated unless you're in a lot of extension. But if you're keeping your neck long, you can look and check yourself. You don't want your wrists to either overextend or flop forward. You really want to keep this alignment. So let's do that. Now, when I come down, I'm going to place a blanket under my forehead just to keep my neck in neutral. And then my arms will be out to the side. And I'm going to check before I come up and make sure that I place them so they are in the position I want them in. You don't have to, like this could be a practice where you don't involve the legs lifting, or you could say, well, I'm going to go ahead since I'm here and work on the lower body hip extensor muscles. So that's optional since the focus is the upper body. I'm going to do the whole thing. Let's come up and see if we can make it to 10 breaths. So inhale, exhale, press the belly into the floor, inhale, lift. Some of us might be needing to rest now. And down we come. Now for this one, let's do child's pose to rest as we did back extension. That'll help stretch and counter the back out. So there are a lot of things we can do at home to help keep the upper body strong while we're with our stay-at-home orders. And why not spend a little time on the upper body? So let's do the arms by the ears because, and I feel like this is one of the most important things that we could do for our shoulder girdle. The lower trapezius, and I say this all the time, I think I say this every time we do this, but I really want people to hear it, get it, share it with the world. The lower trapezius, that part that we don't even talk about much, we talk about the uppers and the middles, it becomes one of the weakest areas of the trapezius muscles. And it does help lift the arm in this position. So when it's weak and you're trying to get your arms to lift, it could be that the lower trapezius is not able to do its job. And it could be also that it's competing against tight muscles in the other side. So whichever one it is, we just have to do both. We have to work on our flexibility. We did that earlier. We did the stretch, and now we're going to see if we get that lower trapezius to activate with some other muscles too, like the rhomboids and the lats and the posterior deltoid. So here we go. I'm putting the blanket the narrow way this time, since my arms are going to be up here. I'm going to use this little edge right here to keep my neck in neutral. Arms are by the side, palms are facing each other. The thumbs are up. Make your lower back long, pull the tailbone towards the heels. Remember, you could keep your arms down, your legs down, and you could even just practice lifting the arms without lifting the upper body. Both would be fine. Let's try and see. It's going to seem like an eternity trying to get through 10 breaths, but let's try it, everyone. I'm game. Okay, so back to the breath. Inhale, exhale, press the belly down, and inhale, lift. Okay, so here we go. Make yourself long. Oh, those arms get heavy quick, don't they? I'm at the halfway point. I'm at 8. I think we can make it if you're still with me. And let's do one extra. And then down you come and rest. Oh, oh, the child's pose will feel like heaven. Oh. And then sit up. Yes, I do want to do another one. So for this one, this is going to be a dynamic practice based on Purvottanasana, which is the stretch to the east side of the body, but we're going to make it dynamic for the triceps. So let's just review that stretch to the east pose first, and then see how we can take it and use it for the triceps. Okay, so number one, if I have wrist issues, if I have shoulder issues that don't let me put weight on my arms when they're back in this position, then I will simply sit like this and lift the chest, and there's your pose. That's the basic Purvottanasana. The second variation is to have your feet flat, your knees bent, and then lift your hips up like this, and then you try to lift the pelvis up, and get it so that you're making a reverse table. And then the third variation is to have your legs straight and lift your torso up like that, you see. And then down you come. So you've got so that would, any of those postures, any of those variations, when you're holding that will strengthen isometrically the triceps muscle, the muscle in the back of your arm. But we can take that position, use a chair perhaps, or a table or a piece of furniture, and just bend and straighten the arm at the elbow. So I'm holding onto the chair, and I could do it with the legs straight or the knees bent, or I could simply, here's what I'll do if I cannot lift my body weight and support myself. So I will just simply sit here in that back bend, or I could just go back and do that on the floor. So that will just do that isometrically for shoulder issues, or we're not ready to carry the weight of the body. Then otherwise I come off, right? And I'm in that reverse table position, and I just go down and up and down and up. That's triceps. And then I could also straighten the legs and go down and up. So carry my feet up, so move that blanket. There you go. So everyone got that chosen? So here we go. Down and up and down and up. I already did 2, so I'm going to count those. Here's number 5. Keep going. Oh, the triceps are loving this. Are they not? Oh, people will ask you, how did you get ready for beach wear while we were all sitting around in the house? You look wonderful, they'll say. Okay, now back up and have a seat. All right. Well, there is your practice for the upper body for tonight. And I know that we need to rest now and let the body soak that all in, because if we just run it out, the body doesn't have a chance to digest and absorb what it just did and then let it become transformational. So let's set ourselves up for Shavasana. And as you rest, feel your upper body, the upper back, the chest, and your shoulders and arms as you just rest and let it all become very soft. Take a slow, deep breath into your beautiful body, and then let that go. Use your next breath and guide your legs into a bent knee position with the feet close to your pelvis. And then begin to do this gentle rocks. And then roll onto your side. Use your hands, press into the floor, and then come and sit with me. May every day be filled with love, with light, with laughter. Namaste.